Monkey face orchid. Hidden within this extraordinary flower appears to be the face of a small monkey, complete with dark eyes, a pale muzzle, and a tiny nose. This remarkable illusion is created where the flower's petals and specialized lip meet beneath three large, pointed sepals that dominate the bloom. The resemblance is so convincing that it has made this orchid one of the most recognizable examples of natural pareidolia in the plant kingdom. Known scientifically as Dracula simia, the monkey face orchid grows naturally in the cloud forests of Ecuador and Peru. It thrives at high elevations, where cool temperatures, frequent mist, and consistently high humidity create ideal conditions throughout the year. Rather than growing in ordinary soil, this orchid is an epiphyte, anchoring itself to tree trunks and branches while absorbing moisture and nutrients from the surrounding air and rain. Like most orchids, its tiny seeds depend on a symbiotic relationship with specialized mycorrhizal fungi to germinate successfully. Although its flower appears almost perfectly designed to resemble a monkey's face, there is no scientific evidence that this resemblance evolved to imitate animals. Instead, the flower's unusual structure evolved to attract pollinators. Many Dracula species produce a scent similar to ripe oranges or other fruit, which is thought to attract small flies and other insects that help transfer pollen between flowers. Under cool, stable conditions, Dracula simia is capable of flowering at various times throughout the year rather than during a single blooming season. This extended flowering period is one reason it has become highly prized among orchid enthusiasts. Although recreating its cool, humid mountain habitat in cultivation can be challenging. The name Dracula means little dragon in Latin, referring to the long, fang-like extensions of the sepals, while simia means monkey. Together, the scientific name perfectly captures one of the most extraordinary floral illusions found anywhere in nature. Rather than being an evolutionary attempt to imitate a primate, the monkey-like face is simply a remarkable consequence of floral architecture. It is another reminder that some of nature's most astonishing animal-like forms arise not from mimicry, but from the intricate shapes created through millions of years of plant evolution. Parrot flower. Viewed from the side, this extraordinary blossom looks remarkably like a tiny parrot suspended in midair. The curved red and purple floral structures create the illusion of a bird with a rounded head, folded wings, a pale chest, and a pointed tail. The resemblance is so striking that it has made this one of the most famous examples of apparent animal shapes in the plant kingdom. From the front, however, the illusion becomes much less convincing, revealing the flower's true botanical structure. Known scientifically as Impatiens psittacina, this rare species of balsam grows naturally in a limited region extending from northeastern Myanmar into northern Thailand. Rather than carpeting open fields, it inhabits rocky tropical forests and moist seasonal habitats where rainfall and humidity provide favorable conditions during part of the year. Although the flower strongly resembles a flying parrot, there is no scientific evidence that this appearance evolved to mimic birds. Instead, the illusion results from the highly specialized arrangement of its sepals and petals, a floral architecture that evolved for pollination rather than visual imitation. The species entered botanical history after seeds collected in Upper Burma were successfully grown at the Royal Botanic Gardens. The plant flowered there in 1900, and the renowned botanist Sir Joseph Dalton Hooker formally described the species in 1901. Its scientific name, psittacina, comes from the Latin word meaning parrot-like, a direct reference to its remarkable appearance. Like many balsams, the parrot flower is an annual plant, completing its entire life cycle, from germination and flowering to seed production, within a single growing season. As the rainy season returns, new plants quickly emerge, bloom, and produce seed before drier conditions arrive. Once the seed capsules mature, they burst open at the slightest touch, forcefully scattering their seeds away from the parent plant, a characteristic shared by many members of the Impatiens genus. Because of its narrow natural distribution and highly specific habitat requirements, the parrot flower remains extremely uncommon in cultivation. Habitat disturbance and the loss of suitable forest environments may pose additional challenges for its long-term survival, making it not only one of the world's most unusual flowers but also one of its most fascinating botanical rarities. Bee orchid. At first glance, The center of this extraordinary flower appears to contain a tiny insect covered in rich brown, yellow, and velvety markings. The resemblance is so convincing that it can attract male pollinating insects searching for a mate. Its enlarged lower petal, known as the labellum, closely mimics the size, color, texture, and even the fuzzy appearance of a female bee. In several species within the genus Aphrys, the flowers also release chemical compounds that closely resemble the sex pheromones produced by female insects. When a male pollinator lands on the flower and attempts to mate with what it believes is a female, pollen packets called pollinia become attached to its body. As the insect visits another flower, it unknowingly transfers the pollen, completing the process of pollination. This remarkable strategy is known as sexual deception, one of the most specialized pollination mechanisms found in the plant kingdom. The bee orchid, Aphrys apifera, is native to much of Europe, North Africa, and parts of Western Asia. Unlike many other members of the genus, however, it often relies less on insect pollinators. In many populations, especially where suitable pollinating insects are scarce, the flower is capable of self-pollination. As the flower matures, the pollinia gradually bend forward until they come into contact with the stigma of the same flower, allowing fertilization to occur without the help of insects. This backup strategy enables the bee orchid to reproduce successfully even in areas where its usual pollinators are absent. It commonly grows in meadows, roadside grasslands, limestone slopes, and open woodlands where the soil remains relatively undisturbed. The bee-like appearance of its flower is far more than an ornamental curiosity. It is the product of millions of years of evolution, forming one of the most sophisticated examples of mimicry in nature. By combining visual imitation with chemical signals, the bee orchid demonstrates just how remarkably specialized the relationship between flowering plants and their pollinators can become. Rabbit succulent. For a brief period at the beginning of the growing season, this tiny succulent looks exactly like a rabbit peeking its head out of the ground. Two succulent leaves grow symmetrically from the small stem remaining from the previous season, forming an image resembling long green ears. This is why it's known worldwide as the rabbit succulent. However, this adorable appearance is only temporary. As the growing season continues, the leaves lengthen, new pairs of leaves appear, and the entire plant gradually takes on the shape of a typical succulent. The famous rabbit image is actually just a natural growth phase of the plant. This plant belongs to the genus Monolaria, a group of succulents native to the arid Cape region of South Africa. Unlike most desert succulents, Monolaria thrives during the cool, rainy months of autumn and winter. When summer temperatures rise, the plant enters a dormant state to conserve energy and water. During dormancy, the long leaves gradually wither and fall off, leaving only the small, succulent stem containing water and nutrients that help the plant survive through many dry months. The succulent tissues and thick epidermis reduce water loss, allowing the plant to survive in environments with very low rainfall. When mature, Monolaria also produces small white or pale pink flowers that bloom at the end of the growing season. While these flowers are quite beautiful, it is the pair of young leaves resembling rabbit ears that makes Monolaria one of the most famous and unique succulent plants in the world.